This is a real personal portrait from Pat McMahon on KTAR.com because this is a big budget segment. We've got a former Phoenix mayor, former gubernatorial candidate, former basketball player at Sunny Slope High School, and a whole bunch of other things with Paul Johnson here now as a very successful businessman, but also somebody that just seems to be devoted to being a troublemaker. Yeah. What, here you are, and you're laughing, and there's the governor's office is doing this, and the Secretary of State is doing this, and there's attorneys doing this because of the open primary.
The open primary issue definitely has gotten a few people's attention. It's been much more exciting than maybe I thought that it was going to be in the beginning. But you know, first, the truth is that I'm not alone in this effort. There are a lot of people who've put a lot of time and effort into making this work.
How many names?
Oh my gosh, Bill Post and Paulina Morris and.
Well, what about the names though on those lists?
Oh yeah, we have thousands of people who've already signed up on our website.
365,000.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 365,000 people who signed the petitions.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a large group of folks, and of course, you know what we're really doing. It's not that complex. It's just we are changing the election system to implement an open election where you eliminate the partisan primary. Every voter or every candidate runs in an open election. Top two vote getters go to the next level. It is a system that is very, very similar to what happens in the cities. But who that upsets, obviously, are the two parties who've had kind of a corner on the marketplace for a long time. It upsets the lobbyists who like the way the legislature works now pretty much just fine. And then it upsets incumbents. And the reason it upsets incumbents is the competition issue. In our election, you will always have competition because the top two vote getters go to the next level.
So far, you have upset virtually everybody except the people who just sit at home and play video games. I mean, you really believe that this whole open primary thing can dramatically change the whole concept of the way we elect officials?
I believe that it can change it. It has a series of different effects. One effect is it allows every voter to vote in every election. The second effect that it has is it creates competition where today it doesn't exist. These districts have been so gerrymandered. Literally 3/4 of them, 26 out of 30 legislative seats, have no competition in the general election. So the entire election is really held in the primary. But then the most important part is that we've created an incentive system that doesn't allow elected officials to cross the aisle and work with people on the other side. In an open election, like in a city government, because the candidate has to go attract votes from people in the other party and from independents, they tend to gain a much greater understanding of how other people think. What's happening in this two-party system is we're splitting the world up, and you are either pro-business or you're pro-education. You're either pro-labor or you're pro-management. You're either pro-God or you're pro-human rights. As if you could possibly be pro-business without being pro-education, or pro-labor without being pro-business, or pro-God without being pro-human rights. These things are connected. And what happens is most people in the public understand that. But the parties tend to want to divide us up and to split us into these very narrow factions.
So the parties are not too thrilled with you. The incumbents aren't too thrilled with you. The ACLU is not even a particular close personal friend. And he just sits here and grins all day long when you're talking about the open primary. Give us an example with limited time of where it's worked.
Oh, it's worked in Nebraska. It's for almost 70 years. It has worked in Washington for the last 10 years. California, it's too new to say. It's only been in place literally this election cycle. But the best example I can give you are your cities. Nonpartisan city governments throughout the country are twice as popular as their legislative and congressional counterparts.
Including in Phoenix.
Including in Phoenix. When cities are partisan, they're almost the equivalent in popularity to their legislative and congressional counterparts. Phoenix has been a very well-run city. A big part of that was back in the 1940s, Barry Goldwater, Newt Rosenzweig, and Nicholas Udall implemented an open election system. They eliminated the partisanship that tended to be a corrupting influence.
Wait a minute. Nick Udall, Rosenzweig, and Goldwater, Republicans and Democrats actually speaking to one another?
Speaking to one another. And by the way, in this particular effort, I'm an independent, but we have probably more Republicans than we do Democrats. There are a lot of people on both sides of the ledgers, you know, those people they call rhinos that they don't want involved with their party. There are a lot of those folks who are conservative, who have a conservative economic background, but that believe that it's important that we work with one another and that we look for compromise and that we try to keep this union together.
A lot of folks out there right now are saying, sounds good to me, but it went too fast. How can they find out more?
They go to azopengov.org, azopengov.org. They can volunteer to help. They can become a social marketing captain. They can contribute. And we're doing a speakers bureau right now where we're training people to go out and speak on the subject. So if they want to get involved, this is a true citizens movement. We need their help.
If you don't think it's working perfectly now, you may want to at least consider some kind of an alternative choice. Maybe one that you found out about on Pat's Personal Portraits on KTAR.com.